Alright guys, game 2. We are not on Royal Blood. I'm glad to see the back of that map. It's a good map, but like, I want to see different maps. And we're back on Babylon with the Ewoks around the campfire. Look at that. That's lovely, isn't it? Anywho, both sides producing worker. This is good stuff. You're rallying your first worker, so it comes out the right end, so you can put down that supply depot on time. Then you rally it back to the natural. There is no probe in production. Okay, the probe's in production now. All right. Still though, bit of wasted chrono time. Not fantastic. What to say about Babylon? Well, I just think Babylon is a very pretty map. The Hanging Gardens, now a StarCraft map. What is this? Little fish thing going on here. Barracks coming down. That looks good. Look at all this stuff. Wow. It's just nice, isn't it? It just looks pretty. Anywho. Anyway, it looks as though we're taking the first gas at about the right time for both players. This is good. Straight up stuff from both players. This barracks in a much more natural position this game. But I guess last game it was set up so that when the reactor went down it became a wall, which saves you time of having to lift the building to fit it in, which is good. So, you know, that's actually quite sophisticated from RandomBanana there. I should have given him more props for that in the previous game. I did not. This SCV scout is going to be coming out now. There's an Abura over there. Look at that. Let's have a look at this SCV. Can they have a good look around in their opponent's base? What are they going to see? Well, not much. They're going to see that the sideboard's going to come down potentially, which is a perfectly normal timing for the sideboard. The second gas is concerning. Like now, like you're just like the thing about the second gas early is if you're not using that gas for anything in particular, right? Think about this. Your mineral line is now less saturated than your opponent. Actually, I say that. It isn't. But that's because there's been an SCV delay, I suppose. But like, you know, this isn't saturated. It should be. These 3 workers should be back on minerals. And just take this gas later. Right? We don't like to see that. Cyber core's finished up. More SCVs in production for the Terran. We're going to see an expand come down. That's groovy. This probe now going to have a good go round. I think this is a more... No, they're both reasonable scout timings, but you're going to find out more with this probe. If there aren't Marines on the ramp waiting to kill it, which there are. So you're not going to get in and see anything up here, but there's nothing to see here, really. Knowing that the expand's coming down should be a relief. You're knowing we're not getting to have any early aggression. This SCV and this probe going to have a face-off. No, this SCV is just going to pretend it's not here. Robo and Stargate, these are good buildings. I like this. If you're going to build Adepts, I want to see them do something, right? Adepts are mobile units, so if you're going to build something like an Adept, get it out on the map, right? Use that ability, that mobility to your advantage. If you're not doing that, then why are you building an Adept in the first place, is my point. It's the same thing with like a Reaper, right? If you're building them, make sure you're using them to have a look around or to get some early pressure. Don't use them and just sit them at home. That's not what an Adept wants to be doing. This is another Robo. 2 double Robo. Okay. Double Robo. Heavy Immortals, maybe? Immortals aren't the best thing to be planning against Marines. They're a good unit, but like not against pure Marine. So you shouldn't go hard Immortal unless, you know, 1 or 2 in an army composition will do you a lot, but you shouldn't go hard Immortal against Marines. Not at all. Starport in production for the Terran player. So we're meeting one air facility with another. I believe that Stargate is just completely idle, no? But, yeah, okay, no, I take it back. They built an Oracle. This Oracle timing is a lot better than the last game, I think. Yeah, it is. This is a lot better than the last game. It's still later than it has to be. It could come a bit faster than this, I think. But this is much better than the previous game. When it gets there now, there will be what? There'll be less Marines. You might actually get a few worker kills. And ideally, don't lose the Oracle, because losing the Oracle is just 150 gas down the drain. Currently, only a probe has died. Presumably that was a scouting probe at some point. Must have gone at the ramp or something. The Oracle now going to come in. The Marines aren't going to... Oh, they know, though, because your Oracle took a bad path. Why did it go across here? Why didn't you go all the way around here and into the middle of the line? As it is, the Marines are now going to kill this, and what did you get? 1 Marine? That's a terrible, terrible trade. No, 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 no. If you're using an Oracle in the early game, right, you don't go through their base to do that. You go all the way around, and you go to the back of the mineral line. Then you can actually get some worker kills. When the Marines come, just run. Take the economic damage and leave. Maybe put down like stasis walls and somewhere in the map or something, but don't just go here, get seen and die to Marines before you can get a single kill. What is this? Like this scouting Viking? We saw this last game, but I wasn't really paying attention to it. This is like an air scout. I haven't seen anything like this before. This is unusual, to say the least. Is you trying to do like economic damage by like dropping your Viking in their mineral? No, you're literally just scouting a Viking. That is bizarre. I mean, it's good you're scouting, but like with a Viking? Just not something I've really seen. You want to see there's no third for the Protoss? That's pretty invaluable information. In fact, the fact that you're scouting a third RandomBanana is fantastic. That is a good thing to be keeping tabs on. So, you know, good job. It's an unorthodox way of doing it, but I like it. I like it. Maybe it is completely orthodox. Maybe I'm just being stupid, but, you know, unusual. Now you're making medevacs, which makes a lot more sense. I don't like this SimCity. Like, units are going to get, like, stuck in, like, this, like, awful, like, tangle at this rate. So, like, you should really spread out your buildings a bit more, you know? Like, look at all this space here you could be using. Look at this space here you could be using. Look at this space down here that you could be using. There's even space, like, you know, down here and stuff. You could be building production facilities in such a way it doesn't restrict your movement within your own base. This tank is going to have to go all the way around, which is just dreadful. You know, you really want to avoid that happening. Now, we are seeing something a bit different to last game. Whereas last game, we just saw Colossus and Immortals and... Well, we do have a couple of Immortals. What we have here... is something different to last game. We have a Disruptor. Disruptors against Marines is a fantastic idea. If you can actually cast their spell well and get it into a big bunch of Marines, lots of them are going to die. So I like this, right? You've got like heavy robo, so I guess that's your plan, is build a bunch of Disruptors. But it doesn't come off of this economy. You need to build more workers for this. You've got, what, 2 bases, and this second one isn't even fully saturated. You can't support this off of that. Your income is, like, just nothing, but your opponent's so far ahead in terms of income because they have more workers mining minerals than you do. Actually, not by much, but they also have mules, so, you know, this should be fully saturated at this point of the game, my friend. But then again, I think you've just pulled a couple off to make supply depots. That's probably why they're not. And you should probably have thirds, even fourth bases by now, really. Just don't be afraid to go off of just 2 bases. They get harder to defend, but has your opponent done anything remotely aggressive other than send in their Oracle? No, they haven't. So, you know, you can, in pretty good confidence, take that 3rd base. Right? It's nothing to worry about, right? Unless you have reason to believe there's something to worry about. Look at all these upgrades again for the Terra, and I'm happy to see this. This is good stuff. More Colossi in production. And again, Colossi are good against Marines, but if you've got a massive army supply deficit, it's not going to matter. And you're going to need something to come out the front as well. Rather than Immortals, just build, like, you know, a bunch of Zealots or something. Some charge slots would go very, very well with this, I think. This Viking is still alive. Did they see that Viking? Surely they saw the Viking. Like, a Viking can fight a Colossus 1v1 without any risk. But, like, as it is, the Viking is just going to get killed by the Void Ray and die. Which, I don't know, man. Is that a particularly good use of a Viking? I'm not sure. There is nothing in production for the Protoss. I don't like that. Is this the only Disruptor? You could build up a few more of those. If you had, you know, you have better income. That being said, you are now oversaturated on both your bases. Now would be a great time to take a 3rd. I mean, you could have taken a 3rd minutes and minutes ago, but, you know, now would be a particularly good time. And, because you're oversaturated. And you're not doing it. You're just staying on 2 bases. Don't be afraid to take 3rd and 4th bases, guys. Like I say, I don't think you should stop building workers until at least 3 full base saturation. That's 66 workers. You are now taking an expand, but at the 9-minute mark, this could have come earlier. This SCV, how long was that SCV there? Was it there a while? I'm not sure. I'm not sure it really matters either. As it is, there's going to be a significant army rollout for the Terran. There is a massive army supply lead. Like, it's substantial. Because, again, your opponent's been producing better. They've been mining more minerals than you have in most of the game. With their mules and with... They're actually at a worker disadvantage now because you must have built a bunch of probes. But they've actually been mining full saturation most of the game. This isn't even fully saturated. As opposed to a bunch of gas, which, you know... You are needing this gas, but you're spending it pretty decently. But it's important not to have that come at the cost of minerals in the early game. Okay? It's important not to have that happen. Fully saturation mineral lines first and keep them fully saturated. This is a shield battery for a static defense. The Terran army might struggle to push if that finishes. As it is, these tanks are going to siege. Or at least 2 of them are. All of them are. So the idea is, right, if you're doing this, you want to engage the Protoss army and bring them back a bit. As I said, the tanks can actually reach here, so they are going to get a quick little snipe on that death there. There is a Marine in this medevac. Something is being cancelled. There's a panic response going on. The army is coming in, but like, all these Colossus are going to be nasty, aren't they? You want to pull them into the tank line. The tanks are getting hits on them. It looks like this is going to be routed. Again, there's more stuff here than the Protoss has, so like, yes, you're going to lose. At least attack all your army. Come on, yeah, bring it back. Oh, okay, there was a Colossus over here. Okay, get out of the mouth. That is a lot of Colossi, and they do just eat through Marines. But when they're stimmed, and when there are siege tanks, like they're not gonna survive that long. The remainder of the Terran army, despite several losses, is still probably going to be able to clean up the game here. Like, look at the units lost tab. That is 40 Marines dead. But the siege tanks just did so much for that engagement. So very, very well played from RandomBanana there. Like, they don't have many kills, but they did a lot of damage, which really helps these Marines, you know? Really assists them in their ability to kill things. As it is, the expand falls, and with it, I think the game is going to be over relatively shortly. There is no army supply to deal with what is also at home. Like, there is like look at this. Off of the back of this attack, RandomBanana has been building more units, which is exactly what you want to be doing. Don't just fight and focus all your attention on the fight. You want to be macroing at home whilst this is happening. And look at this, the rest of the army's on the move now. There's very little the Protoss can do. The army supply deficit is absolutely enormous, and the game will be ending very shortly. This tank, keeping a good eye on that assimilator here. I always forget what the Protoss gas production city is called. Binary, extractor, assimilator, all different keys. Anywho, 2-0 to RandomBanana. Very good stuff. GG.